Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Let's Talk About the Music. To kick things off, we'll be sharing some tips on how you can get started in the music industry. I have asked Sean from Less Than Glory and Corey from Pure Energy to share their stories, hoping they can inspire new musicians like Keith from Chaos 101. Corey and Sean have lots to share to this first episode, so we'll be splitting up in 2 episodes. Hope you guys enjoy the very first episode, but first, Papa Sash playing my brand new theme song, and I'll talk to you guys right after the song.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the music. All around. Woo. Let's talk about it.
5 minutes late in starting, so I can have everything timed on time.
All
so
right.
we got to start this now. So we're gonna go. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. Okay, so welcome to the first episode of Let's Talk About the Music. We are taught. We can listen to us on Spotify, anywhere you play a podcast, and then 3 days later you hear us on YouTube. What we're doing today on the very first episode, we are going to be talking about if you guys are interested in becoming musicians. These guys are going to share your topic and how they got started and stories. And Mr. Keith down there, he is actually been in the industry for a while, but he's actually starting out on a solo project. So we're going to round the corner here, introduce each other. What do you guys do? What's your location? And all that jazz. So the audience will know your guys' voices when they listen to it, and Keith get to know you guys too. So, Sean, go with you.
Hello, my name is Sean, and my band is Lust for Glory. We're currently based in Spokane, Washington, and we play throughout the Pacific Northwest. And I tend to call us garage rock, but there are factions in the band that are telling me I should describe it as 70s flavored guitar driven something ... I don't know. We're working on the promo stuff. I'm horrible at promoting myself. So
metal,
heavy rock,
maybe heavy rock, but how are we metal? We're not
glam
metal.
band. I've seen you play. You guys do it all.
We've been doing Ziggy Stardust a lot. Speaking of glam.
Nice.
We started playing that like a few months ago, and it's like, okay, I can give me a jean jacket and cut some sleeves off it, and, it'd be dazzled up, and my heroin chic skinny jean days are way past me, but I'll give it a shot.
Right.
Please don't,
right.
Sean. Please don't.
Okay, Corey.
Got to give him something to look at, man.
Tell them who you are, what you do, and what is the band you're playing in now, because you've been in a lot of projects. So.
Oh, I've been in a lot of projects. Hi, my name's Corey. I started out back in 94, 95. Played in a couple bands there. Started a family, had a 14-year hiatus, and then came back into it because the previous band members that I was with sucked me back in, and I'm thankful they did. Because I've had some great projects in between. Right now, I'm with a band called Pure Energy, actually playing with the guitarist that I originally started with back in 94, 95. We're more of I would describe us as a garage rock raw band is how I would describe it. Just kind of starting out this year, which is kind of nice, and trying to get some stuff booked, and it's kind of difficult when you come into the game late and don't get the summer settings, and fall is booking up really quick. So we're just trying to make it work. We just love playing music. So.
All right, Keith, you're up.
Okay, I'm Keith. I'm a solo musician. My act is Chaos 101. I've been playing for over 20 years. I started making records, electronic music after the pandemic. I released 4 electronic records, each about like 2 hours long, and a current one using a different format with vocals and looping. So right now, I like to classify it as, I don't know, indie rock, possibly like alternative. There's no other way I could describe it, what I'm up to.
All right, and I am Shells. I am the host of Let's Talk About the Music. I am a performer, a roaming performer, as known as the Pixie. You can Google that. It can also, I was with a band called Super Geek League. I was their jester, so I dressed up in weird jester outfits, and I've been a broadcaster since 2000, since I was 14. I am be 52 soon, so it's been a while since I've been in radio. So I've been here for a while. So know the industry a little bit, just a little bit. So, all right. So now, so the introductions, you guys all know each other. All right. So let's go with stories. So tell us about stories, you guys, Sean and Corey. Your stories about the first time you guys became musicians. Do you guys remember that story at all?
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a story.
Hit it first.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, okay. So I guess I started trumpet when I was 8, and I did not like trumpet at all. My sister's dad played trumpet was born in San Diego. He played in Southern California band, and they were like the hip hop cool thing. And this is the 70s. So like Steely Dan and things like that, I'm guessing is what it was. And my mom's like, so play trumpet. I'm like, I don't want to play trumpet. I want to play drums. And she thought Richard would think it was very cool if I was playing trumpet. And I did not care, but I still wound up somehow playing trumpet. And that lasted for about 3 years. And then I gave it up for good in around 6th grade. And a part of my issue was, I did not necessarily like trumpet, but also I have horrible vision, and we were very poor, and I didn't always have glasses, so I could not read the sheet music. Well, I guess the trumpet's that long. I could not read the sheet music there without glasses, and that turns out that's a problem. So that agitated me enough, and I gave up, and I did not play. That was 6th grade. So around freshman year, I got some guilt money from my dad, who took off when I was very, very young. And I thought, hey, I'm going to go down to the music store and I'm going to get a drum set. And I walked 3 miles to the music store, and I'm looking at the drum sets, and I realized I cannot walk back home 3 miles with a drum set. So I got a guitar, and that started me on guitar. And I was a year after a friend of mine who actually literally just called me right as we were trying to kick this thing off. Nobody calls me unless they're trying to buy a property. And I get a call right when we're starting this off. And it was him. It was my friend Larry. And he started playing a year before I did. So I would go to like his house and watch him struggle through Talking About Love and stuff like that. And for about a year, and then I got a guitar of my own, and he wrote down some chords for me, and it kind of took off from there. And I wanted to write as much as I wanted to play anything, but I did not really have any sense that I was a singer. So I did not wind up, because I couldn't sing what I thought I was writing. And so for a long time, I just was like, I thought I needed a collaborator to be in a band. And so that kind of stalled me out for a long time. And I did some coffee shop things with some female singers for a while, and that way different than what the Lust stuff is, but it was really good, and it was really fun. And it was, but then, they go away. If you've been in a band, you've been in a bunch of bands. Yep. And so now I'd gotten this trail of like, I was in a band called Big Ol' Jug of Tang, and this is 2005. And the guy who did it, when they'd written all the songs, kind because he had a bunch of songs beforehand, but then he couldn't write with other people. So me and the other guy who were in it were trying to write stuff, but the main guy could not deal. And so at some point that band goes away, but he has all the songs. And so now I can't go to an open mic and play a song. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Am I going to be a musician, or am I just going to be a guy who, is in nowhere bands all the time? And so I wrote the first song that wound up being the first Lust for Glory song. And just before that happened, kind of coincidentally, I'd seen a Monty Python interview where Eric Idle was talking about, you're taking so much flack from the church about the life of Brian. And he's like, well, yeah, but if they thought that was bad, we were going to name it Jesus Christ Lust for Glory first. And I'm like, my God, that's my next band name. And then
gosh,
2 or 3 months later, 2 or 3 months later, my friend says, hey, this band's done. And I was like, and so I wrote a song, and I was like, the first Lust for Glory song. It's like, okay, well, next thing I'm going to do is Lust for Glory. Yeah. And it was, and that's kind of a very abridged, believe it or not, version of how I got to where I am now. And that was, like I said, 2005. So that's going to be 20 years of me trying to beat this damn dead horse.
I think it's awesome that you were able to keep the name.
Right.
So I've been in many different projects, and I've always felt just personally that as members change, a lot of times the name of the band changes because the sound is different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can touch that actually. I moved I was in Portland when Lust for Glory started. And I started with this drummer Lance. So if you go through YouTube and you find the old first show 2009 Lust for Glory footage, that's Lance. And and still love that guy. He's got a band now in Portland called Reestrad, which we try to go down and play with whenever we can. But anyway, he started with him, and at first it was just me and him. And he played with Chris Newman forever. Wow. He was in Snowbud and the Flower People forever. He was in a band called the Godlings, a bunch of stuff. And finally he's like, dude, F it, let's just start a band, man. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And then we played together for a bit, just him and me, and we were both the White Kid Behind Me, Satan was just come out, and Wolf Mother just come out. And so, we have that. We have the Melvins in common. And I'm thinking, should we do this as a 2-piece? And I wasn't, I was tired of waiting for a singer. So I'm like, I'm going to start writing stuff to yell on. Let's go. And we found, we looked for some bass players, and we didn't find anybody, maybe another guitarist. We didn't find anybody first. Then I moved to Seattle. And I was like, damn, because when I showed up to the first jam sessions, I was the only one that brought any songs. So by the time I moved up to Seattle, we had like 5 songs. I'm like, okay, cool. And I got players up there, and I wound up that job only lasted a year. So I moved back to Portland after that. So those guys were the Seattle guys were kind of over it anyway, and they were barely playing for fun. And I'm like, I want to keep going. And I went back and hooked up with Lance again, and he brought in a bass player. Actually, I brought in a bass player first, and he brought in one, and then we've got another guitar player in. And that was that's that first footage that you see. That's the Portland lineup, and I think that's pretty awesome. And that was the first album, Plastic Life. And then I had a kid, and that was she's 15 now. A tangent we can come back to is she's actually at a show tonight right now.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And she was at a show. She was at the Knitting Factory. Last night she was at a show at the Big Dipper. The night before that, I'm not sure, it was Nito Burrito or something. She's 15, and she's going to show after show after show after show. So when you're talking about your kids, like saying, I don't have time and stuff like that. Apparently my kid has time because, but anyway, so
my kids are creating. They just do gaming stuff. That's all.
Well, she's, she only has time because school's not in, and she's not doing plays right now. Because she was freshman last year, and
she's in theater.
Varsity, she lettered in theater in her first year.
Happy good honor. Tell her amazing.
Cool. And she got one of her old, from the Civic Theater, not the school theater, Civic Theater, one of her old directors there messaged her back months ago and said, hey, do you want to sing the national anthem at the pavilion for the closing ceremonies of the expo thing? So she got tapped to do that also, which is like, I'm just like
That's
beaming with
cool.
pride
Nice.
and
That's
also
cool.
astonished because like I'm not going to go up there a cappella, and I go on stage all the time, but yeah, so she did it. But anyway, so this was 15 years ago, and she was born and she was 6 months old, and we moved up here because that's where her mom's grandmother lived at the time. So it's like, well, let's get her close to a grandparent, and, do what we can to have a family and stuff. So that's why I moved up here, and I thought we're ready to start the next album. And I'm like, so I thought we were going to do things online. So I'm sending the guys ideas for songs, and eventually they just kind of ghosted. And one of them said, yeah, I don't know. I can't do a long distance band relationship. And, then the rest of them just kind of dropped away. And I'm like, and it was the same thing again. It's like, okay, am I a musician, or am I just a guy who's going to like be in a bunch of bands? And so I kept writing the next album. That was American Sonoscope. And I just did everything I could to play everything on it. And I got that one out, and I'm like, okay, apparently I thought I wanted to be a band. Like, you think the Beatles and Zeppelin were all buddies and they got together and made a band. We later find out it's not true, but that's what we think. It's like, that's what I wanted. And then I just realized, oh no, Lust for Glory is just me dragging this, faint concept of guitar driven rock around and throwing it in people's faces whenever given the opportunity. So I guess that's what I do. Right? So yeah, but like you said,
good job at it too. Good job.
It's hard.
I agree, Shells. I agree.
It's hard when you like you said, when they go away, it's like, okay, well, is this changing the sound of the band? And it turns out not so much. I mean, it does to an extent, but it's also, since nobody else was writing, like there was one, Aaron, the other guitar player in the Portland lineup, he wrote a riff and a whole song that he had from a different band that he brought in. But aside from that, and up until this album for sure, Clockwork, which is going to come out, and Saturn, which I think is the album before it, have a couple songs written by somebody else in the band, and Clockwork has a couple. But other than that, I wrote everything, and in a lot of cases, I played everything. So that's why it sounds like that.
So it's all you. Like you did everything.
In a lot of cases, yes. But the thing is, like, unlike what you're doing, is I went through, because I tried to program drums and I just could not. And it was horrible. And I just basically wound up, and like I said, I always wanted to play drums, and I was old enough to like have drums now. It's like, well, I'm just going to start trying to pound this out. So I wound up, there's a couple on Sonoscope, a couple of the programmed drums still there, but there's other things where it's just like, I'm going to try to do it live as a human and bash it out. And so yeah, as an excuse to play drums, now an excuse to play keyboard.
Yeah, I've seen you play drums in a show. You do pretty good at it.
But you keep doing it, right? You keep doing it, and you want to do it, and you just do it, right?
Just do it. Right.
And what's fun is like with Matt and with Casey, there's 2.5 drummers in the band. And so that just, we could totally have fun with that live on stage. And we do every chance we get. So, got to try to stand out somehow. So.
All right, Corey, you are up. Tell us about your experience. All the glory of you.
Okay, so there was once a little glimmer in my dad's eye.
Not that much.
We don't want to go back that far?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have the romantic filters to properly
No, we can't. I mean, I could probably put some of that little segment, but no.
I could have still made it PG-13. I could do that. They do that in biology class all the time. No, I started out, went to a private school, but I really got interested in doing like choir and ensembles, both large and small. Ended up getting involved with a mixed quartet, which was 3 other females and myself. And I actually competed at state. And for the 5 years that I competed, we took first placed 4 times, second place once, ended up going to nationals and ended up taking 6th place there. So naturally I figured, hey, I've got vocals. I could do that. And, but of course I've always liked acting, voiceovers, stuff like that. So get out of, oh gosh, the private school realm and get into the real world and see what things really are. And I'm like going, gosh, I want to play rock music. That's what I want to do. So I went out to a pawn shop, bought myself a electric guitar. Don't know how to do it. I took piano lessons for 2 years as a kid. I'd rather climb trees than practice piano at that point. So, I was taught how to read music, still never learned it. I still don't know how to read music. I could watch where the notes go and I can know where things are supposed to progress to, And so I ended up working at the Olive Garden down in Everett and met this lady. Actually, she's the one that trained me. Name was Shannon. And I'm like, oh, I really want to play guitar. I want to learn how to play guitar. I love music. She's like, oh, my brother plays a guitar. Actually, I play bass, and my brother and we play all the time. I'm like, well, let's get together. Let's make something happen. And she's like, well, okay. Because I'm like, I want to learn how to play guitar. Somebody can teach me how to play guitar. Oh yeah, well, we'll try to figure it out. Well, about 7 months later, it finally happens that she got her brother to come out and come over to my place, my townhome, and they started. They just hooked up those little PV practicing type things, right? And they started playing these licks that they have practiced for years. Because brother and sister, they kind of learned how to play together, I guess. As far as instruments go, I'm like, oh, I like that sound. I know what vocals would sound good at that. And then I pulled out that I was 21, 22. I pulled out my old high school poetry book that I had written down all my deep, dark poetry into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, we started creating songs. That night, he came over one night. We made 3 songs. And so that's what started it for me.
Wow.
And we found a drummer, we found another guitarist. We started to do, like I said, this was back in 94, 95. And that's kind of just where we started. As a matter of fact, if anybody ever wants to listen to it, go check out Limited Sight Distance on Spotify and stuff like that. It's out there. And that album was actually recorded 95, 96. But that shows you kind of where I started.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we kind of went from that. We had some issues happen after we recorded where we had to let go our drummer and the other guitarist. And I ended up becoming a different band, and then it went somewhere different. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know I was so egotistical at the moment, but I got kicked out of the whole thing. And even though these were the people that I put together, evidently I was just kind of a big jerk.
You? No.
Yeah, no, you don't see that at all. No, not a narcissist at all. No, I get it. I don't see it either. But what was interesting is because at that same time, I had my first son. I was starting a family, and so all of a sudden, I took years off. I got kicked out of a band. That means that I don't sound good. My vocals aren't good, and so I stepped away. I'm like, nope, don't need this. I mean, every once in a while, I'd go out and do karaoke and whatever. Well, eventually, my kids grew up. Both my boys grew up, started to be young teenagers. And we found this thing because they love video games. Well, because I showed them that video games are awesome. We all found Rock Band.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Okay. And so we kind of went all out on this one. Rock Band, the original, Rock Band 2, Rock Band 3, all the subsidiaries that you could find for this. As a matter of fact, we still have a full-on Fender controller for the Xbox, full weight, everything for just Rock Band. So my kids are older. We're all getting into it. My son loves to play drums with it. We were just having a blast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? I miss this. I miss doing this. And so another high school buddy of mine who's been in bands ever since high school, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, we're playing Cane Fest, which is up in Arlington, or was up in Arlington. He's like, we're playing out here. You should come out and just check us out. I'm like, all right. So I asked my oldest son, I mean, gosh, he had to have been like 14 or 15 at the time. Hey, you want to go do this? Go check out the bands for a day. He's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm like, okay, cool. So we go out there and we're listening to these bands. And I started meeting people that are playing in the show that they played in bands that I played with previously in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
Good.
oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then there's a band that called Under the Red Door, or were called Under the Red Door. I think their villain plays the victim now. But they started playing it, and my son goes, oh, I like them. I really like them. And I'm like, okay, cool. So after they were all done playing, I'm like, hey, why don't we go over by their trailer? They're selling merch over there. We can go over and talk to them. He's like, oh, no. No. They're in a band. They play. We can't talk to them, because he felt less than.
Right.
And I'm like, no, let's go over there and talk to them. So I finally convinced them to go over and talk to them. Well, they're just all excited. Oh, a young person is liking our music. Oh, they gave him a free t-shirt. We all introduced ourselves, so on and so forth. Great night. Well, then the next day, my buddy Dennis, or Dirty is what we like to call him, that I played with in the original band, calls me up and says, hey, I got some stuff going on over here. I think you should come out and play with us. Bring your vocals. Let's see what we get started. So I go out there, and we did. And that's when we came up with Karma's Playbook. It was Sir, and then became Karma's Playbook. But it was within that group that we find out that they're all friends with all the people from Under the Red Door. So we're over there after practice, have a barbecue at our buddy Joda's house. And so all these people start coming over, and my son is like, oh my gosh, that's the people from Under the Red Door. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is. Yeah, they're all friends with these guys. They're all family. So you start to feel this difference, that it's not just, they're not bigger than you.
Right.
They're just like you.
Right.
Just different ways of being.
Right.
And so this whole thing progresses, and so some of those types of things drop out, and then I get into a Green Day tribute band called Kerplunk. Ended
I
up being
that.
Yeah, I remember I was able to play with an amazing musician, D. Adam Essner. He's in Moopsie right now, but he's also in Mako Talks, Cherry Dragon. I mean, Sean, you know him. I mean, just an outstanding musician. His wife, Masako, amazing vocalist from Japan. I can't understand what she says half the time when she sings, because she's singing in Japanese.
Right.
But I know there's a story there, but the passion that she puts out there is amazing. And so I was able to play with him and a drummer dude from Strawberry Rocket, and Dennis Martinez, and I can't remember the band he was in before, but we became 21 Day Coma. That was probably a pinnacle of my musician life right now, because I had 3 other musicians that were very articulate, very precise. And so what we created was also very precise. I mean, we went right away, created our songs, and went right into the studio and made an album. And nobody had a question of, should we spend money on this or not? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
right.
like, I've been in bands where it's like, should we spend the money? Are we that good to do this? There was never a question of that. It just, boom, here we go, done. And I listened back to that album, and it's like, oh my goodness, that was very precise. It was very unique.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was a very good experience to do. Now I've kind of come back into more of the raw garage rock type feel. And so I've been on a stage a couple of times now with this new band, which we just started out this year, Pure Energy. And it is completely different. You know, you have this rawness, you have this non-polished thing because we haven't been together enough yet. Not only that, they've brought me out of not just doing vocals, they're now having me play guitar.
Nice.
So I'm kind of learning some new things. I've got on stage now, and I'm nervous as all. I'm usually not nervous on stage. You know, I'm nervous now because I'm doing something I haven't done before.
Right.
It's like, what if I play the wrong note? I mean, as a singer, it was easy. I could change the voice really quick. Like, can't change it on my strings as quickly yet.
So you just starting playing guitar?
I've always dinked around with the guitar for the last 30 years. You know,
yeah.
But you never did anything sound like this before.
I have never really played in front of people before on the guitar.
Okay. Nice. Good job on bound, you know, getting coat. Yeah, good job.
Hey, like I said, let's talk about the music. I love
and to sing too is hard too.
Right.
You know, that has always been a challenge, and I've always respected anybody that can play an instrument and sing at the same time.
Me too, including drums and sing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the singer from Atreyu.
Yeah,
I mean, my goodness. I'm playing drums and singing. Oh, no, actually, I'm going to take one from local. Steel Beans.
Yeah?
He not only plays drums.
A monster across the board.
He's playing bass. He's playing guitar. He's playing drums. He's singing. He's a one-man band. That guy is amazing.
I was talking to him at because he was here in town at Spokane. He was opening for Tool, right?
Right on.
And I was talking to him out by their van, and just you get the sense the guy's a great hang. And then so Lance, I was talking about Lance before. He's stage manager for Tenacious D now, right? And well, actually, he does a bunch of things like that. But he went back out on tour and stuff after his kids grew up and moved out and stuff. So one of the shows he does is he's a stage manager for Tenacious D, and Cool Beans was opening for them. So he knew Lance and they're friends on Instagram and all that. Because when Lance would set his stage up, since he was a drummer from, you know, forever, he's going to go and, you know, he's going to sound check the drums basically. So, oh my God. Yeah. So we talked a long time, and I got there's a little inspiration from him because he's doing, I mean, he does it, he has his own take, and he does it like considerably, depending on the videos you watch, considerably better than what I'm doing. But he's got, so I've never pulled off the doing it by myself thing yet, like at all, let alone like he does, which is just miraculous. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I've got a 7-piece version of the band. I've got a 3-piece version of the band. And,
wow.
you know, and this is just the one that's, you know, gone out on tour with, you know, Tool and Tenacious D. But, and like in my Facebook feeds, I've seen that I think he's got a 7-piece now or 5-piece that he's doing that, you know, people of course seem to love, but yeah, that guy's just awesome. I'm like, well, good, because I'm doing a thing now where we'll show up as a 2-piece or we'll be 4 pieces or whatever. And now I'm thinking, hey, is it worth starting to bring the keyboard around? Because I'll start learning like keyboard stuff, and we just jumble it all around. I don't know if he swaps as much with his full band, but I'm fine. I enjoy the fact, not just like or, you know, made peace with, but I like the fact that you don't know if you see Lust for Glory playing at like Plaid Pig or Tony's or something, Tony V's, that you don't know if it's going to be 2 pieces or 3-piece, which for a long time it was. Or
oh my, you are so correct. With a couple of my bands that I've been in, I played with you as a 2-piece, a 3-piece, a 4-piece. I don't think I've seen you as a 5 yet.
I don't know.
Did 21 Day Coma do one of those with a 5?
I did. I take that back. Well, so there hasn't been a 5 yet.
Oh, okay.
That I know of, but there can be a 5.
Oh, I can see that. I can see it.
Well, because and here's the thing, and this is goes a little bit back to the Melvins too. And it's just like, but also when I do these things, it's easy to just do it. Hey, come on up and play. And here's the notes, and you do it. But I don't want to, like, and I yell at the other guitar players a lot about it. But it's like, I don't want you to play what I'm playing. We're gonna work out a part, and you're gonna do something different. Because if you're here, what's the point? If you're just doing what I'm doing. Right. And that also leads me to like, okay, well, maybe you just play my guitar part and I will figure something to do out on keys. Or I'll go and play drums for this one or something like that. And the drummer will come up and sing. But yeah, however we can do it to make it interesting for sure. And the last show we did was a few weeks ago, and it was at Cruisers, and it had we're kind of rolling as a 4-piece now. So I have the male bass player, Tom. But for a lot of years, like the only person who's been in this band almost as longer than anybody else who isn't me is Kathy. And she was in the band for almost 10 years. And it was a 3-piece for like that whole time, basically.
I got to see her play twice.
Actually, it was a 2-piece where we would show up and play as guitar and bass, and then somebody would like jump in on drums. One year it was like I had 28 drummers, right? Because we would just play these shows, and somebody would like jump up and like drunk as hell and just start playing and stuff. And it was like, okay, yeah, that's happening. We're doing that. But anyway, she played. Tom couldn't play with us at the last show, and she'd been out of commission for a couple years actually. And this is the second time she's played in, a year or something. And I'm preemptively strategizing like how to let's write 2 bass parts. Let's do that Melvins thing that they did for a while and go with like 2 bass players, right? Because I can, the drummer can do a little guitar, the other drummer can do a lot of guitar, I can do a little bit of drums. We'll start dragging the piano. What else can we do? Well, 2 bass players, right? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so yeah, always trying to do something. But the thing is, and this touches back to your singing and playing guitar thing. It makes me write different.
Oh yeah.
Like if I'm going to do, okay, am I going to do some guitar? Or am I going to do keyboards now? What can I write that I'm doing keyboards and stuff? Because I have written, and there's also sometimes I'm thinking, hey, what if I just don't do anything but sing? I'm sure my singing would benefit from that. Right. But I feel like everything I've written for all the years of Lust for Glory and stuff is the way that it is because I vocally and guitar wise, because I have to play and sing at the same time. So there's like the stylistic little thing where the guitar makes a noise and does a riff, and then it just holds a note, it whole notes and rings over, or does something simple while I yell the verse, and then it goes back to. So there's things like that you do because you kind of have to if you're the only guitar player and you're also singing. And with another guitar player, Matt, right now in here for as long as he's been here, I'm starting to like, well, what else can I do now? If there's another guitar that's going to hold it down, what else can I do? Like, if I just make guitar noise and then that doesn't have to tie to the singing or stuff. So that's something worth exploring. And then, if I'm going to have 2 bass players going, how do I write that? What can I do there and stuff? So it's hard, I guess, for me to run into a creative dead end in that in that regard. Granted, it doesn't mean I'm faster at writing the songs or getting them done or finishing off an album, for God's sakes. I've got there's one track on this new album that I told Shell I was gonna I'll get it to you. You can do a review next week, I think. I still don't have words for this last song. The song sounds great. I know what it's called. I know what it's going to talk about. I just don't have any damn words for it.
That's okay. I'm still working. That's okay. I'm still working on Keith's review. I haven't even started on his yet at all. I got busy going on a road trip, so don't worry about it. So let's take
It'll
the
get there.
conversation-
It'll get there.
Yes. So let's take the conversation to Keith because we want to make sure he gets his chance to tell us about him and his
talks way too much.
experience.
Shut that guy up, man.
So go ahead, Keith. Keith, it's all you.
Everything's all about
Okay.
all the time.
As a
All right,
musician,
thank you, Keith. Very
first
good
thing-
job.
Okay.
Corey, what are you up to,
Corey?
man? What are you guys doing?
So yeah.
Oh, sorry, just messing with you, man.
Yeah. So I guess my start as a musician would be after high school, which would have been 2002. Me and my best friend, we left graduation. We were still in our gowns and we had still the hats on. And I took the drums, he took guitar. We just freestyled it. And it was so fun that we liked it so much. We were inspired by some albums that came out, like Tool had Lateral Alice come out, Radiohead had their thing, and so it was a big time for music, and we were just real inspired during that time. And then we just continued to record throughout the years, and did just freestyle stuff where I would make up stuff on the drums, whether it's just by hitting the toms and doing some kind of beat, mimicking whoever I was listening to. But yeah, so we did that. And then I moved out to Washington in 2005 to go to college. And I just started doing things solo. I tried like connecting with other musicians and other groups. And yeah, we'd like practice and it worked out, but never really got to a point where we were like doing shows or anything. So at the very least, I got like experience with like band like dynamics and working with other people. So communicating and so forth. But I guess one of the big things would have been learning music theory so that I could teach or understand what other people are talking about when they're like, all right, you're gonna the root notes with the G, and you're gonna, and then we got the D, and then we're gonna switch to the F sharp in the chorus. So then from there I could just figure out what to do with the scales and so forth. So I picked up, after that, it was a bunch of writing, a lot of guitar work. So up to now, to this date, I probably have about like 120 songs, but written on paper, probably a little more, but and
Sell them to people that can play them. Sell them.
Yeah. So I got all that, and then after COVID, I just started making electronic music. I got some software that was pretty cool. Native Instruments I use. The machine has the reactor builds. Has a lot of virtual synths that I could use to program stuff. So that's fun. Then I just worked on making electronic music since like 2020. So, and then 2022, I got my first gig as like an opener, playing a half-hour acoustic set at the Blue Moon Tavern.
Right on.
Yeah,
Blue
that's
Moon.
fun.
I know where that's at.
Me too.
Yeah. And I got there and I forgot my set list. So thankfully there's
Oh no!
Yeah, I know. So thankfully there's a pen and paper available. So I can write it down real quick. But I was like really nervous, like because a lot of people and I haven't played like in front of people in a long time. So yeah, that was fun. I was able to get a bunch of get like 10 songs in, and yeah, I played a lot of numbers that I've been hanging on to for like a decade. So
Nice.
it's like and I've been kind of like just reshaping it and like reviewing it, being like, okay, now it sticks. Because like I don't know, that's kind of how I am. I'll just like sit on things and then release it. kind of like how I have all this massive book of lyrics and guitar songs.
It's not a mess. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Just keep a hold of those things. You've got it. Keep on going.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. And then I hope to, I was trying to work with like other musicians and like a drummer, but I couldn't find, anyone that could, that would I could work something out with. There was somebody that I was working out something with, but then he moved. Anyway,
That happens.
yeah, that kind of stuff. And then I just after that, then after electronic music making, I got into using a looper and doing some like beatbox looping, and I use. Yeah, currently I use my setup as like a Korg mini drum machine. I got like a mini synth, so everything's all micro set up, so I could fit it all in the backpack and go to a gig if I needed to. So it's a light load. I could probably do it all in one swing. So, but yeah, that's kind of what like my pathway is. Stands at in terms of making music is using the OP1, which is a nice little gadget for beat making and synths. So I got that around beginning of the year. Yeah. So
nice.
That's
right on.
That's kind of that's kind of how that's the workstation that I use to create stuff, and hopefully for like live stuff too. But I hope to network with other musicians too, and form a group. That's still an open thing. I'm open minded to, yeah.
One of the things I'll say, Keith, go check out a band called Ascent.
Yeah.
So it is ASNT. They're based out of California. It's a husband and wife team. It's just a duo. She just sings. He plays all the instruments. And I've heard them live. He does some things I don't even know how technologically. And I feel like I'm connected to some technology. I don't even know how he does it. But check it out and see what you think. That might be something down your alley. It might give you some inspiration of something.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a genre shift from you, but it's and this is what's important to me when somebody's playing solo like that and like looping and stuff, is that the brief times that I tried to do it, I want everybody to see the noise that's happening in the song happen, right? I can never play against tracks, but with a looper or something, every noise and thump that happens is happening right there with us all, me and the crowd, and then so everything's being made there, and that gives me the sense of real that I think music has to have. And so that's what Ascent does, is everything that's happening, every drum beat. And I was a guitar tech for a long time, and I'm like, everything you do to make your rig efficient and make it sound good, So when I go to play now, my setup is like, whoosh, whoosh, and there we go. And awesome. But he's got like, and I love gear, but he's got like so many damn things, and there's drums, and then there's the looper, and then there's the bass synth pedal, and then there's everything.
But it's all this size right here.
He's got a pretty, I mean, since there's just two people, it's harder to tell, but he's got a pretty good footprint on the stage.
I'll agree. I will agree with you, because I've thought about going down this path as a musician, especially as a vocalist, where I have all of these sounds in my head. I know the lyrics that I want to have. I know the sound, the beat, everything. I can put that together, and especially in today's age, I could put it together and I could track it easily. I could put out an album easily with me doing every instrument by myself. I could never play it live because it wouldn't have exactly what you were just saying, Sean. It wouldn't have that feel.
Yeah. And there's another band in Portland called Grimace, which is Grimass.
Grimace from McDonald's.
They have they have a similar thing too, where it's just her singing and then the guy's doing guitar, and there's some loops. It's more of a garage version of Ascent, like genre wise and stuff.
Gotcha.
But I will tell you, like I said, I did try it. I have a couple of the Akai loopers, the E1 and the E2, because I tried it briefly for a while. It's like, what songs do I have that I can do this with? And I went and I played a few shows like that, and I could probably go back and do it better now. But I got that particular looper because one of the first things that I ever, when YouTube started to be a thing, one of the first I watched repeatedly watched No One Knows. But also I found this thing on French TV, because a friend of mine's MySpace, when you went to her MySpace, the music, the landing page.
Wait. MySpace.
Yes.
What is that? Tell us in detail.
At the beginning of the internet,
I am not.
There used to be a crank on the side of the computer, and you would crank it a bunch of times, and then a lady would answer the phone on the other side, and she'd say, "Number, please. Let me plug you in." And you would say, "Renton 3500," and then they would connect you. And then there'd be a noise. I was like,
No. You're doing the 56K noise right there. It wasn't that noise.
Not at first. No, I know. But my 42K is horrible. But anyway, so at her MySpace page was Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, right? That was the landing music by Katie Tunstall. And I'm like, and I'm like, this is kind of, and the song was everywhere at the time. And I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. Okay, what? And then at some point when I started the YouTube stuff, I went and I YouTubed it up, and I found a live version, and you can still find it. It's like 2004, 2005, and it's from French TV. And when I saw her do it, like, the song just skyrocketed in awesomeness because she does every noise that you hear, she does by herself. And she's got the looper that she plugs into a little mixer on the floor so she can do her vocals through it also. And she still to this day does a version of it by herself when she's playing with, and she plays with just a drummer. She'll play by herself. She'll play with a full band. So yeah, if you watch that version on YouTube, there's a part that's my favorite version, because there's a part at the end where you can see this little beginning of a smile on her face because the crowd's going nuts, and she knows that she has nailed the song, right?
Nice.
And it's a brand new song. And that is awesome in and of itself, right? She does everything on there. She's like making the tambourine, stomping on the tambourine. She's playing the guitar. She's singing it. She's singing to herself on the looper. She's doing all that. And basically she's written this song that she will say now in current interviews that she has to play every time she plays, right?
Oh, when you feel it, you feel it. Yeah.
True. But the fun thing is that during COVID, so a couple of years ago, there's Katie Tunstall playing at the Whiskey. And there's nobody in the building, and it's just her. Well, I mean, there's crew, but there's no crowd, and she's playing a stream, and then she's got a drummer, and it is awesome because they go to do Black Horse and Cherry Tree, and she starts to play it, and she is so human, and everything that she does is just natural, and she's comfortable playing by now, and she starts playing it, and she's going through, and she's like, I don't remember the words. What's the first verse? And she's got a pad in front of her.
Oh, I don't even know.
She's got
how many times that's happened.
She's like, somebody tell me the first verse, but there's a lag, right? So she can see all the comments from the live stream thing, but there's a lag on it. So she starts in the second verse. And so in the middle of it, she's singing how this is the second verse. I understand, blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's the lag. And so she goes back. It's a master class and performance when things go wrong on stage.
I so love technology and hate it all at the same time.
That's amazing.
It's a master class in live performance, but it also just goes to show that we've all heard of Katie Tunstall.
Yeah.
She's made a fair bit of money on albums. She's sold some albums. She's won some awards. She is a fantastic songwriter and performer, and she's been doing this for a little while now. And the most popular song that she has ever written, arguably, even she can forget the words to it sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's always interesting when like you see the
Way to
professional
go, Sean.
musicians screw up on
Exactly.
stage a bit and
they're just human.
yeah, the little hiccups. Yeah, and
Like
they
Corey was talking about earlier. It's like they are just us, except they're up there right now.
Every single time I go on stage, actually, believe it or not, every single time I go to practice, even times when I go into karaoke, I have anxiousness. I do have nerves. The cool part is it's those nerves and that anxious. That's what I drive off. That's what fuels. This is why I do what I do. I love that feeling. I hate it. Don't get me wrong, because man, if I screw up, people are going to know. But at the same time, that anxiousness, that pacing back and forth before you get on stage, before you record an album, before you're getting together with this new group of people and creating your first song. Oh, what is this going to sound like? Are they going to like my voice? Are they going to do? You see what I'm saying? Or are they going to like how I play guitar? It is a feeling. This is what fuels. You want to say? Let's talk about the music. That is what fuels music.
Like I feel that way when writing, writing lyrics.
When you're writing,
is it ready? Like, is it ready to be released? Like, how long? Like, is it good enough? Like, Keith, how many revisions?
Keith, really, which part are you talking about? Writing lyrics? Are you talking about writing guitar chords?
Writing lyrics. I mean, like writing lyrics. Like, are the words well put?
Do they? Do they meet every standard? But that goes to the same with the guitar player, the bass player, the percussionist, the keyboardist. All of these people are saying the same thing. They're feeling the same. This is why we are musicians.
I don't remember who said it, but there's a quote that I love that is, the art is never completed, it's abandoned.
Boom.
Oh, I like that. I'll look
yes.
I like that. Well, the thing is that I've been told for like 6 months now to start. Let's talk about the music. I can't tell you. I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it.
You are so ready.
I got so many different things to do. Oh, this is like 3 months ago. And I had so many things I had to do. And I was getting, go, go, go. Like, no, not yet. Well, I finally hit the final pieces last week. And here we are. And of course, I'm having anxiety attacks. You guys know that I am borderline personality disorder with a very extreme anxiety. Okay. I haven't had any anxiety supplements for a while. Couldn't need them. Well, now I'm back on it again.
You're welcome.
And I've been so for 2 weeks. I was just like, oh my God, I hope everyone likes the new show. What I'm doing now differently than it was before. I want to, make sure it's aware, stay on topic on the topic itself, help young. I want to do something different than it was before. So just like, even last night, I could not sleep.
Shells.
Could not sleep. Oh.
Shells. You got. If you've not watched what we've done for this last hour,
I know.
This is. And you grabbed. This is happy on you.
I know.
You grabbed 3 other people that actually are able to converse all the way around in different ways from different perspectives,
and impossible to be with.
I don't want to go that far, Sean, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't want to go that far.
That would be a first for you, wouldn't it?
Yo, okay. The ref
say,
takes a point away. Keep the gloves up.
The thing is that I understand you guys' anxiety of going on stage, making sure everyone likes you, make sure you're doing. I'm the exact same way with this here. Make sure everyone likes your stuff. All right, and the band that you guys are doing, you guys are anxious about going on stage. It's your guys' project,
and this is yours. This is exactly the same thing.
I think every creative person has some kind of anxiety going on because we want to make sure the world likes our creativity.
Absolutely.
It has something to do with it.
I was just talking to my sons about this. So my oldest son, he's a gamer, has his own YouTube channel, does his games. Now, if you want to check him out, austinwold.com or Austin Wold YouTube, whatever. And he does an amazing, actually, he's better at doing the stage performance than probably I am, which is, I don't even know how to deal with that one yet. I'm processing that one. But he was even saying, it's like, no, even though we're all different in what our creativity is, we're all still the same because we're trying to give our creativity
to the world, and hoping that everyone likes what we are putting out.
Yes.
So Lauren Michaels from Saturday Night Live says that we don't go on because we're ready. We go on because it's 11:30.
Amen. Okay. See, Sean has some really good stuff tucked up his sleeve.
I took one of these episodes, one of the old Let's Talk About the Music episodes, and I read out of my Blackadder? No, my Monty Python scripts. But there's that, right? So okay, there's that. Ultimately, that's where it ends, right? It's like you don't start the podcast because you're ready. You start the podcast because
it's time.
You're scheduled to start the podcast now.
It's time, right? Yeah.
But also, like you were saying, it didn't click until now for you to like jump off and do this. That's perfectly valid too, because like I said, there's a song that I don't have any words for right now. I think that's holding up the album because it happens to be the same name as the album.
So it is holding up the album.
I have a workaround because when I did Blue Idol, there wasn't a song called Blue Idol on that album until the next album I started. I'm like, I had this song. I'm like, oh, this song is Blue Idol. So I might like do a thing where I just like name an album and then on the next album is like the song of but anyway, but there's another one like with everything that's going, and I'm having some artistic existential crisis stuff now over the past month and stuff. Anyway, which can be its own rant here later, but there's another song that needs one last verse, and up until all of the brick wall and the crying and the being upset that I am about stuff, mostly booking wise and festival wise, like I'm just like ready to give. I was like, oh, is this band? Screw the band, screw live performances. It'll just be a thing on video now. I'll just do it on. Yeah, I'm having all this stuff in my head, and that angst and that pain and the frustration that I'm going through, that is becoming the last verse to the song. So there's a lot to be said for when you were talking about, all right now is when the pieces lined up for you and you're ready to like go and push it through. Yeah, that happens. Like, and this song, like the song that needs that last verse, the first lines of the song I wrote like 4 years ago with the guitar. Like, this is what okay, that's a thing. And it's taken me over the course of some time to get the rest of the thing lined up. And like I said, I think I'm ready to, round the curve on that and cross the finish line with it. But it's, but again, I've told everybody, hey, tune in at 11:30, right? So it's like, I'm riding the razor on it because it's not done, but I said there's a thing, it's a coming, and it's going to be so, that's one of those self-imposed things where you hopefully it motivates you to get things done.
Okie dokie. That wraps up for part 1 of episode 2. Be sure to tune in next week for part 2 of episode 1. Thanks for tuning in for this episode of Let's Talk About the Music. I hope you enjoyed the vibe. Don't forget to subscribe and make us your #1 podcast. Join in on our newsletters to get the latest updates, and a big, huge shout out to our amazing guest co-hosts. It wasn't for you, the show would not be possible, including Ripple for being the intro credit and Papa Satch creating my brand new theme song. Thank you so much. And a major thanks goes out to 89.9 The Current, also known as KGRG, at Green River College. Until next time, let's talk about the music, because the music is everywhere.